for you guys. I'm the president of the Community Association. Christy Mulrain is the vice president. She's somewhere at the entrance there. Give a wave. Beside her, Zach Hodder. He's new to the Community Association as a director at large. We have a very healthy board here, and we collaborate, like I said, with Marloop, Richmond on Hill, and Bankview, and there's some other community associations here, which is great that you kind of saw the news. I'll give quick introductions just because they will introduce themselves. We have on your left, far left, put your hand up, Nathaniel. All right, and then beside him in the blazer, Dave Cree in the purple blazer, Cornelia Wiebe in the middle, Miguel Cortines, and then Ken Hehr. I'm sure some of you know most of these, or most of you know most of these candidates. They will have 30 minutes to talk about themselves, talk about what they see in the city. So they'll have about 5 or 6 minutes each. I'm going to have a timer, so be one of those guys. And then the second part of the format is from 7 to 7:30, or sorry, 6:30 to 7. We will have a question and answer period. And I have the questions here, as most of you inputted. About 2/3 of the questions were revolving around development, rezoning, blanket rezoning, traffic, that topic, okay? And then the third portion will be at 7 to 7:30, where you can talk to the candidates. You can do so outside, you can do so at the back. We're gonna leave the chairs here because, as some of you know, we have a mayoral debate tomorrow with the same format, same place, same time. So I'm gonna say something maybe a little bit idealistic, a little cheesy, but when I grew up, not from here, but when I grew up, you know, one parent was conservative, one was liberal, but we all still talked about it. It wasn't contentious. And there are volunteers here tonight that are much younger than you and I, that are high school students. So, you know, you're not gonna have the opportunity to like ask a question, but just keep in mind that there's young people here, our future. So let's try to be professional, try to be courteous. You know, whoever gets elected, you know, on October 20th, like, they're not doing this for the money, they're not doing this for fame, they're doing this because they care about the city, right? They care about the ward, they care about the future of the city. And so just keep that in mind, right? So let's be respectful to each other. If you look at our website, it talks about inclusivity, vibrancy, safety. So let's keep that in mind. So without further ado, I'm going to set a timer. And I'm going to pass the microphone. If I can start on this side and go over, what I encourage you to do is, you know, talk about yourself, talk about the questions we ask you. It's not about rebuttals, okay? So I'll start the timer, and yeah, you can stand, sit, wherever you feel comfortable with, and go ahead. Thank you.
All right, good evening, folks. I'm going to stand. I'm a bit of a pacer, so that'll help me. First off, I just want to thank everybody, the volunteers from the community associations. This type of thing is so valuable, and this is all run by volunteers. And, you know, people who volunteer with community associations and volunteer around the community, it makes a huge difference, and it makes Calgary a better place. Also thank the Sprawl for putting on the video here, and then all of you for coming out tonight, because, you know, I believe local politics and this level of government is the most powerful and most important. And the fact that so many of you are here is really gives reason for hope for the future. So thank you all for coming. And in my introduction, what I'd like to do is introduce myself and who I am, talk about why I'm running, and then talk about my vision for Ward 8. So I live just a few blocks down the road. In fact, I jumped on my bike and came over here tonight because my wife was preparing supper for our 2-year-old. We have a babysitter tonight. So yes, we have a 2-year-old. And right now I am a defense lawyer. I work for myself. I have my own firm, but I do all legal aid work, which means that I help people who have to make under $30,000 a year to qualify for my services. And before that, I was a duty counsel lawyer, which meant I was the free lawyer all day, every day for people who had their criminal court appearances. But when I first moved to Calgary, I was a musician. I moved into Marteloup and rented there for 15 years. I was a piano player and a composer. I taught students in my own studio, was a staff music assistant at Central Memorial High School, and worked at the National Music Center as well. So in 2018, took that sharp left turn, went to law school here at the University of Calgary. I knew this was the place where I wanted to stay. I am originally from Vancouver Island, but I've been in Alberta since 2004. So I think that qualifies me as an Albertan now, since my whole adult life has been spent in this province. And, I really love Calgary. I love living here in this city, living in Ward 8. And couple extra just little tidbits. I'm a gardener and I like to ferment things as well. So that's just a little bit about my background, just so you know who I am and who's talking to you. And so when I decided to run, wasn't a decision that came easy. I am not a politician. I've never done this before, like I think a few others that are up here today. And when I was thinking about that decision to run, for me, it came down to where can I make the most impact and where can I be myself and put forward my ideas and what I believe is going to benefit our community. And so the entire time that I've lived here in Calgary, I've been a volunteer. That's something that's really important to me. I've served on the boards of Nature Calgary, Calgary River Valleys, Alberta Wilderness Association, and for the longest, I've been on the board and for 7 years, the president of Kensington Sinfonia, which is a small string orchestra in the city. And so it's made up of Calgary Philharmonic musicians, and we encourage and produce music by composers from Alberta and present them at churches, and then also partner with local businesses like Village Brewery to put on the concerts. So that was a long-winded way to say that when it came to the decision to run in this election, it was that spirit and also thinking about my daughter. So my 2-year-old and thinking about all the other young families here in Killarney, the vulnerable clients that I serve, and all of you here, and what we all want to see for the future of our city. And even though, we might not agree on every issue, what we all agree on is that this is a great place to live. It's full of great people, and it's full of a spirit of people who care about their community. And so then when I get to thinking about what my vision is for Ward 8 and why I want to do this, I think about all the times that I've presented myself at City Council as an advocate. At this point, it's between 10 and 15 times over 5 or 6 years on issues like affordable housing, the environment, and basic things like transit and roads and those kinds of issues as well, because those are really the out your front door nuts and bolts issues that affect all of us, and they can make a huge difference in people's lives. They can be the difference between being homeless and living in a house, between having a happy life where you live and appreciating your community. And so my vision for Ward 8 focuses on those pillars. When it comes to housing, that's really, as Thomas mentioned, time. Okay, that was time. So thank you, everybody. That's my introduction, and I'll pass it on to my colleague.
Thank you. I'll stand for as long as I can, but I probably can't stand for the whole time. Good evening. My name's Dave Cree, and I'm just really honored to be here and honored for your time, both volunteers and people coming out to see this. And I'm just really excited to be your Ward 8 candidate, running with the Calgary Party. I grew my family in this ward. We moved here back in 2013. And my kids have kind of grown up going to lots of the schools in this ward. I started my businesses in this ward, and I've run about 6 different businesses over the last 25 years. One of the most recent ones being a social enterprise called Common Good Linens, where we were serving the local restaurants in this area and all throughout downtown core with their linen needs. And we were hiring people coming out of the DI shelter or out of a recovery space, because those people had a lot of barriers to actually getting a job. No license, no cell phone, no bank account oftentimes. And so we pay cash at the end of the day, a living wage, to each of them. And we helped many get off the street and get into housing on their own without the help of any city program, without the help, because it wasn't available. There was nothing to help us accomplish this mission. And so, yeah, my kids now, I've got kids that went through all the way up through university. And so some of them have launched and they've left Calgary. And I'm really concerned about their ability to come back and raise their kids in these neighborhoods that they were grown up in, the schools that they went to. And so that's a big motivation for me running, is just also my children's future and our children's future. I think all of us are concerned about that here. I also just absolutely love Ward 8. I love that we have so much of the arts, so much of the live music, the best food in the city. And it's just a really great place to live. And we have work to do, but it's still, I think, one of the best wards in the city to live in. And that's why I'm running here in Ward 8. So I've been 25 years in business, mentoring entrepreneurs, working hands-on in our community. And most important lesson that I learned was through that common good experience, where I understood how much housing and wraparound supports were the base level of anything that we could accomplish from a mental health recovery standpoint. And that shaped my commitment to service and to practical people service solutions for this city. That's shaped my passion for why I'm running. I'm running because City Hall isn't working the way it should, and it isn't making the headway that it should on our public safety and on our unhoused profile. Our communities are dealing with rising costs, with safety concerns, with lots of density, lots of stress in our systems. And too many decisions are being made without listening to residents. With a team of like-minded candidates like Brian Thiessen, I feel like our vision for transparency, for accountability, and for collaboration with each other is a vision for council that we really need. And I'm going to just speak quickly to the party thing. That of course Danielle Schmidt brought parties into our system, and none of us asked for it, but it's here. And as Calgary Party candidates, all of us are very independently minded, very Calgary focused. And so we formed this party, not aligned with any other political party, so that we could be just that voice for Calgary that brings a very clear platform that you could all know what you're getting. Thanks very much.
Yeah, one more minute.
Oh, one more minute. Okay, I will finish off this last bit. And my goal is really simple. I'm very, very focused on our housing affordability, not only for my kids, but also for all of our unhoused. And I strongly believe that we're just not going to make headway on our public safety, on people feeling safe in our streets, and on our housing affordability, unless we have a real concrete focus on getting more homes built, getting more off-market homes built, so that we can get people off the streets and get our city back on track. Thanks very much.
I feel like this is the spot where we're all going to stand. All right. Well, I'll start by thanking everyone for coming here tonight and allowing me the opportunity to speak with you about my priorities on this campaign and why I'm also running to be your next councillor here in Ward 8. So to start, my name is Cornelia Wiebe. I am a small business owner and I have been in this ward since 2001. My business is down in Lower Mount Royal, so I spend most of my time down at my shop and also in and around the Beltline communities. I am running to be your councillor because, like you, I am frustrated by the decision-making at City Council. I do not see my voice reflected in the decision-making that has been brought forward over the last 4 years. Some of you will remember me from running in the last municipal election in 2021. I learned a lot during that time. It was a great experience for me. And I will tell you, over the last 4 years, I have spent many hours volunteering in our communities, including serving on the Richmond Knob Hill Community Association, the 17th Avenue BIA Board of Directors as Vice Chair, and other areas. Volunteering has always been a part of my life. It's very important to me, and it's something I'll continue to do beyond this role. As we'll speak to municipal parties, this is our first election to have municipal parties. I am the Ward 8 candidate running for the community's first party. To be honest, the word party doesn't really reflect what we have on offer here today. The community's first party is really a team of candidates. We are grassroots, we are non-traditional, we are not affiliated with provincial or federal parties. We are a team of like-minded candidates who share the same values and commitments for Calgarians. That includes a commitment to repealing blanket upzoning, investing in infrastructure, funding our police, restoring safety to our transit, and more. For me, this is an opportunity for Calgarians and for you here in Ward 8 to understand who you're voting for in a very transparent way. There will be no surprises or grand declarations after the election. What I stand for here today as your Ward 8 candidate are my priorities that I've identified for this community, for our communities. I will always stand up for us. I will not toe a party line. That's not what this is. We don't have a party whip. We are independent candidates. So just to be clear of where I stand on that issue, but we are a great team of candidates and we've got a lot to offer. The priorities for the ward that I've identified, I recognize because I live here. I've raised my family here. These communities are home for me. From day one of my campaign, I have stated clearly that I am opposed to blanket upzoning and commit to repealing day one. This is the #1 issue that I hear at the doors. I believe Calgary's growth should be thoughtful, balanced, and rooted in the voices of the people who call our communities home. Trust has been broken, and we need to restore it by ensuring residents have a seat at the table, not just a checkbox on a form. Let's talk about taxes. As a resident, my taxes continue to climb, and I simply don't see where the money is being spent. We need to work on a city budget that focuses on need-to-haves, investing in infrastructure, transit, Calgary police, fixing potholes. When we've met our budget needs, we can look at our nice-to-haves. Reviewing duplications and redundancies will be necessary to deliver measurable standard of performance at City Hall. At the end of the day, I'm committed to bringing common sense back to decision-making by focusing on the local issues here in our Ward 8 and bringing the mandate of the people to City Hall. After all, that is the job of your councillor, to show up, to listen, and to bring your issues to city administration. I will do that, and I will be your voice for Ward 8. On October 20th, I am asking for your support and your vote in this election to be your next Ward 8 City Councillor. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Miguel Cortines, and thank you very much for the invitation to this event, to all the organizers and to all the volunteers that are helping with this event. Well, I came to Calgary almost 24 years ago. And since I moved to Calgary from Mexico City, I have seen the amazing growth of this vibrant city that we have. The downtown, it was like this, and right now you can see the big downtown that we have right now. I'm running because I really believe in Calgary. I think we are in a great momentum. We have a great space ahead of us. We are expecting to grow the double the population that we have right now in 10 years. And I'm a community builder all my life. I started when I was very young, probably around 18 years old in Mexico City. I started to organize tournaments, soccer tournaments, marathons, book clubs. When I moved to Canada, to Calgary in 2002, I founded an organization, Casa Mexico Foundation, and from that time we are working with creators, with entrepreneurs, with artists, just to drive the community. And also, since I arrived here as well, I start to create different connections. I join another organization, a non-for-profit organization that I am president as well, the Canadian Council for the Americas. We help Canadian companies basically to understand Latin American markets. We organize business-to-business meetings and delegations that are coming here to our city from different places from Latin America, just to diversify our economy. I have worked with companies like as a consultant or as an advisor for TC Energy or TransCanada, Enbridge, or different service providers in the oil and gas sector. I start to create different connections with different organizations since I arrived here, like Calgary Economic Development was one of the first ones. Until today, I maintain very good connections with them. I have worked a lot with the government of Alberta as well, and with Global Affairs Canada as well in organizing different trade missions. And we're planning right now an event in November as well to promote the relations in Mexico and Canada. So I have been very, very active in different sectors. So in the non-for-profit sector, in the business sector, I'm also the owner or co-owner of Aroma Cafe Bar. It's based in Mardalup, in C Space Mardalup, in the main floor of the building. And we opened that cafe in 2020, March 10, 2020, with the pandemic. The building was closed all the pandemic, but the cafe was able to be open because we have a little a back door to the park. And suddenly the community started to support the cafe. My wife was cooking, doing many things alone because the building was empty. We opened a second location in Mardalup in the 33 Avenue and 18th Street. So far, we have great reviews, and this is a community place as well. It has all the values that I have because we are creating a community hub. We are right now we are having open mics on Thursdays. We have musical nights on Fridays. We start yesterday cooking classes on Tuesdays, and we want to start doing entrepreneurial nights on Wednesdays. So we want to activate the cafe. Obviously, I understand very well the all these hats that I mentioned are very important to run as a city councilor because I understand the different perspectives from a small business, from a consulting side, from working with government, and because I think to solve all the problems that we have in our city and to take advantage of the opportunities, we need to work in collaboration. Nobody of us is going to resolve the problem that we have alone. So we need to work. We need to have a council, whoever comes to this great job, to work together, right? All the councillors with the new mayor. Yeah, I'm very proud. I believe in Calgary. And my question for you as well is, do you believe in Calgary? We need to believe in this great city. We are living a great momentum. And I have 4 main priorities. One is the responsible management of the growth that we are experiencing. Obviously, we are facing a lot of challenges with densification, with construction, with parking, with many issues about this growth that we are experiencing. I'm going to be in favor of repealing this blanket zone because I think it's not working at all. I think we need to redesign a new vision for the city of Calgary for the next 10 years, I could say. The second priority is to maintain or to improve our services and have more infrastructure because we are growing, and obviously we are growing. We need more. We are using more the services that we use, the roads, the water systems. Everything needs to be revised and obviously to maintain good condition. The third priority is the community engagement because I have heard a lot that there is a disconnection right now between the city council, currently city council, and the citizens. And I think we cannot, we need to continue the conversation. Communities need to be engaged in any decision that is made by the city of Calgary. And finally, my final priority is a vibrant economy. I see a great future for Calgary. I see a very prosperous city, a very vibrant city, and a very cosmopolitan city. So I invite you to join me if you live in Calgary, and thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to start by thanking each and every one of you for coming out this evening, for giving up your time, It shows your commitment to not only a great city, but building a great community. Also, let's give a big round of applause to the Youth Central volunteers for being here, helping us out tonight. Thanks a lot, guys. My name is Hehr, and I'm running on three pillars: my independence, my accessibility, and my experience. No one on this stage can point to the experiences I've had, whether that's in my work in the not for profit community, my work as a lawyer. I've been a two-term MLA and a member of parliament who delivered $2.6 billion in funding to this area for things like the Marteloup Sea Space, for affordable housing projects, and the LRT Green Line, a very important project to our city's future. A little bit about myself. My family moved here when I was 7 years old. My parents are both public school teachers. We're both public school teachers. They both served as public school trustees for this area. So we have a long history of public service in our family. And when I cut down to the quick of why I'm running, is because that aspect of public service, working on complex problems that affect people, their families, and communities going forward. It is a true joy for me to do that work. And I do it with glee. My accessibility. I've already done 50 coffees on the corner in the morning. My dad and I get up and we go to Tim Hortons, pick up take 20, and we set up shop and we chat to people as they go by. Some people honk, some people wave, some aren't so happy, but we keep on trying to engage positively, to hear all sides, and to give honest and open feedback. And I don't just do these when I'm campaigning. I've done these for 20 years when I've been in elected office, set up shop, and heard from my constituents. You will see me in your coffee shops, your restaurants, at your grocery stores. In fact, my partner of 14 years, she's actually a little bit introverted. She sometimes kicks me out of the house and says, go talk to somebody else. So it's very appreciative when I get to speak to you. I'm also running as an independent councillor for Ward 8. I think we all wish that Daniel Schmidt didn't cast the party system upon us. But I too think that my vote should depend on my interactions with you, and you are who I'm accountable to. My name is on the ballot, not some party, not some mayor and their chief of staff handing me my talking points in the morning, telling me how I'm vote. I think it's important to have independence in the job, and my ability and my judgment and my name go with those decisions that I make. I will always hustle. Every phone call will be returned. My office staff will be working closely with community associations on how to build strong relationships with individual constituents as well as community associations. There's lots of issues on the table this election, but it comes clear after door knocking 10,000 doors that the blanket zoning as it is not working. Okay? Whether it's repeal, whether it's replace, you name it, we have to go forward on moving the ball forward. We've seen communities now have what was thought of as being 4 row houses has quickly turned into 8, 16, 24 plexes on the middle of neighborhoods. Their exemptions are being handed out like TikToks or Tic Tacs at City Hall. And really, there has been no pushback from your existing council on what actually is the kind and character of our neighborhoods. We have transit issues, safety is a big concern, We have a rise in homelessness, and I look forward to continuing on more fulsomely in my next answer.
Okay. That went really smoothly. Thanks everybody for adhering to the time. I don't like to cut people off. At least maybe it's unless it's my kids. So let's get to the meat of why you're here. Is like those were great overviews of the candidates, but let's get right into the questions. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna have three questions. There are three main themes when I look through all of the registrations, and as I said before, the big one and the first one that will allow each speaker 4 minutes for. So it's a whopping 4 minutes. The other two questions, the second and third one, will only have 1 minute to respond because they had less, they're a minority, let's call it that way, in terms of the questions. So please answer the theme and the topic as best as possible. I know a lot of you asked about rebuttals, but we're going to focus on your platform, your opinions, and to the crowd, okay? So, number one, please comment as best as you can on the blanket rezoning policy, affordable housing. I know there's a lot here. The Minto project down the road here by Crowchild. Marda Loop is going through a lot right now. Parking, traffic. Focus on solutions from our current state, please. So I will start the timer. You have 4 minutes each.
So the common thread between all of those points is that people are not feeling the benefits of development. We're building development where we live, but we're not building community at the same time. What we've done is we've put the cart before the horse. We have not built our services and our infrastructure to match the amount of change that we're seeing. And this is what needs to change. There's a lot of different ways to do that. But when it comes to communities like Marda Loop with the Minto development, the common threads I hear at the door is parking and traffic. So what that would tell me as a city councillor from listening to you is we need to make those things better. And we need to add different aspects of traveling, say like transit. There's only 2 bus routes that travel through Marda Loop, and there are a lot of people living there now. That is a sign that we need more buses and we need more ways to get around. It's only 3 kilometers from downtown. It shouldn't take 40 minutes to get downtown on a bus, for example. But at the same time, what we also need to look at is, are the policies we've chosen to address those issues actually working? So would I repeal the upzoning? Not right away, because we need to look at how it's working, what's going wrong, and find a solution to that. Because there's 2 different problems there. There are all of you in this room who already live in this community, you care about where you live, you enjoy the community where you live, but then there's also all those people that are looking for a home. And I think of the 20-year-old volunteer on my campaign who's just going to come out of the UFC. She can't afford to live out of her parents' home. The average income for rent, $80,000 a year. Average income for home ownership, $150,000 a year. So how do we balance those 2 things in a way that respects everybody who already lives in their neighborhood, but also provides the opportunity for those people that we want to keep here, who we don't want to lose, to continue to live there? And for me, that comes with showing the benefits of development by building up services, by building up infrastructure, by communicating with residents and making changes where changes are needed. We just saw Edmonton pare theirs back. And if we need to do the same thing here, we should. It's about adding tools to our toolkit. And there's lots of other solutions. But the fact is that Calgary takes up more land than New York City, and we're stretching our budget thin, which is why we're seeing and feeling a lack of services and seeing our property taxes go up. So there needs to be solutions to all of those different problems to be able to find a path forward so that we can grow together, so that we can respect the people who already live here and welcome in the people who want to live here and want to contribute the same way all of you have. So for me, that comes with the secondary suite program. We can take that template and allow that through a very controlled process with incentives for laneway homes, for transforming existing homes into small apartment units that would not change the fabric of the neighborhood, but they would add more units to where we live. And then at the same time, if we're looking at how much construction is happening, then we look at changing things like the upzoning. Because really, Marta Loop, Killarney, all those neighborhoods were largely already zoned to a level that was at or beyond the upzoning that came through. So in fact, it will take pressure off of neighborhoods like these, because just to the west of here, across 37th Street, those communities had more people living in them in the 1960s than they do today. And that is the problem that we need to solve. Thank you.
Well, in my perspective, Calgary's at a major crossroads in our housing. We're welcoming nearly 100,000 new residents every year, and we're busting at the seams. Our shelters are absolutely full. You can see our streets full of people that are unhoused all the way out to Altadore. People are seeing that in their alleyways and their neighbors. It's happening all over the place in Ward 8. And without supply, every other challenge that we face, from affordability, safety, livability, they all get worse. And that's why our campaign is absolutely housing first. I saw a statistic just the other day about what would it take for us to make our minimum wage to match the buying power that someone making minimum wage in the 70s had. And it was $66 an hour is how much we would have to pay minimum wage to match that buying power. That's out of control. And it's one of the first times in generations that as parents, we're looking at our kids and saying they don't have the same opportunities that we had. It doesn't look the same outlook as what we had. Every city decision, in my viewpoint, has to be measured against this, against housing affordability, and evaluate through the lens of housing, aligning our policies, our budgets, our departments, and all around a single goal of solving this issue. It's a major, major issue for Calgary, affecting not just your own feeling of safety, not only affecting all those people who are unhoused and experiencing that, but it's also affecting our economic outlook. It's starting to affect that, and we don't want that to happen. Blanket rezoning has led to nearly a 60% increase in applications, but it's also left a lot of communities feeling steamrolled. And so concerns about parking, about privacy, about traffic, they're all very valid concerns. Will I repeal upzoning? No, I don't think it's the right decision to look at to do that immediately. There's dire consequences in trying to make that kind of a move without having a solid plan for what you're going to replace that with. And so we're committed more to having setting up a community review subcommittee on housing for the next 18 months to review the policies, review what's happening in our neighborhoods, collect the feedback and make changes. And no doubt there are a lot of changes to be made, but we can still continue to move forward and grow our city through the housing that we need to build. One thing to just note about repealing upzoning is that it does affect 225 million of federal funding that's already been, it's already come to the city. And so we start to do that, there's no doubt going to be an immediate increase in taxes. I support densification and transit and growth zones, but I oppose these one-size-fits-all decisions. So that zoning review panel has to have community voices involved and a good review period so that we make sure that those voices are actually implemented into the program. We also still need faster, more predictable approvals. And so I'm supporting a 3331 framework for our permit approvals to speed up that process, make it much more transparent and visible to both builders and families building their homes. And finally, sorry, I'm nervous. I'm not, career politician, so just bear with me. large projects like Minto by Count Bennett cannot move forward, in my opinion, unless they fund the upgrades to the traffic calming, to the parking solutions, to the green space that we need, and to the transit upgrades that are direly needed. And in Marda Loop, the construction's been a painful case study and failure. And so we need much better coordination on our construction projects to ease that feeling of density when it's happening in your community.
There's a lot to unpack here, so I'm going to go for it. I have been clear since day one of my campaign that I am opposed to blanket rezoning, and I will vote to repeal it on day one. Full stop. Right now, City Hall has forced blanket rezoning across every neighborhood in our city. The intention may be affordability, but the reality is much different. Blanket rezoning strips away community input, opens the door to speculation, and risks demolishing the affordable homes we already have, only to replace them with high-priced units out of reach for many families. Instead of improving affordability, it often benefits developers and investors more than everyday Calgarians. I support development and recognize the need for housing options. However, the decision of the current council to approve this motion against the overwhelming majority of Calgarians was dismissive and proved that this council is not interested in what we have to say. I believe in a smarter approach, growth that respects existing communities, balances density with livability, and ensures development actually meets housing needs, not just market pressures. As for the Minto project, this is a great example of an underused property ideal for development. However, the overwhelming number of units, building height, shortage of parking, and significant loss of green space are why I do not support the plan and why I spoke at the City Council to oppose that application. This community did the work only to find themselves in the same place as countless Calgarians, ignored and dismissed by council. They are now launching a legal challenge to this application. It is time for Ward 8 to have a dedicated person that works exclusively on development applications and community engagement. I commit to hiring a full-time, dedicated Ward 8 staffer to work on this in this area. Parking continues to be of significant frustration and concern for businesses and residents. The city's planning strategies require less parking than ever for residential construction at the same time as reducing on-street parking in highly populated areas. I support increasing minimum parking requirements for residential developments to 1 stall per unit. You should have a real choice in how you move around this city. Whether you drive, walk, take transit, or ride your bike, your city should support your choice. I live in Marda Loop and have spoken out about impacts of long-term construction. Folks are reasonable. We all understand that infrastructure has a life cycle and needs to be replaced. It's how the city communicates timelines and delays and how we support the businesses through construction that needs to change. The $75 million lawsuit against the city by small businesses in Marda Loop is another example of poor communication and accountability. I will work on a plan that will support small business through business interruption due to construction. I will be the counselor that shows up for you and listens to you and acts on your concerns. Our citizens should not find themselves launching lawsuits and legal challenges against the city due to overreach and mismanagement. Thank you.
Well, I have been knocking some doors and just visiting different neighbors around the area, Marda Loop in specific, and I have seen one street with one single house, very traditional house, a beautiful duplex, very, very $1 million duplex, fourplex with just, yeah, two, like a box, right? Two houses in the front, two houses in the back without garden because they took out the garden, obviously. Another in the next round, like one doorbell here, one here, one here, one here, just small doors, and I can be here and put all the doorbells in one shot. And people living upstairs, I think it's like 8 units. And from that, different styles as well. And I think I'm in favor of repealing the blanket zone, and obviously with the help of experts and just to evaluate what are the implications. But at the same time that we repeal this zone, this blanket zone, we need to work together in working in what is going to replace that. And for me, it's very important that we need to have a long-term vision about what we want to do. First, I think we need to work together, the developers, because we need housing. That's for sure. We need housing because there is a need. More people is going to come, and we need housing. But we need to build housing that respects the character of Calgary because we are a great city. We have lovely neighborhoods here in the infields, in the different places. I used to live in Dalhousie, for example. It's beautiful, beautiful places, and I cannot imagine Dalhousie to be like something that is happening right now in Mardalup, for example, right? So we need to engage the community because we need to have a voice as well in whatever development is happening, because we don't want also to put a lot of bureaucracy in the system because we want to move forward fast, but we need to find a mechanism that is going to involve engagement. And obviously city planners, where they need to be involved. We cannot just provide free hands to the developers to do whatever they want to do. And probably the use of technology. I heard that there are some cities that are using AI to approve developing permits, and they can use technology to improve whatever can be improved to provide a livable space and that maintains the streetscapes, the character of the communities. So, yeah, with the densification that we are experiencing, obviously I have talked as well with people. I talked to a family. They moved 3 years ago, and they were expecting, or they were told that they are going to live in a very nice neighborhood. But after they move, someone buy a land here, and they build 8 units. And right now, they said that when they want to invite family to come, there is no parking. They need to park like 6 blocks away. And wow, that is happening, and it's going to continue to happening with Mardalu, for example, the new 19-story building by Truman, where the co-op is going to be. They are going to build parking. Co-op is going to build parking, but I don't think it's going to be enough, and it's going to be another chaos. And obviously, transit, right? There is just one main entrance in Crochard, another one in Cortines Street, and I cannot imagine the chaos that is going to happen there. So, and I think one of the potential solutions might be, I just take the example of what is happening in East Village when they developed East Village, right? It's a space that when you can go there, you can find businesses, you can find living, you can live there, you can find parking there, you can find spaces to have events. It's going to be a cultural district, so a lot of opportunities to discuss. Okay?
I've door knocked over 10,000 doors, and I've heard the community loud and clear that the current zoning isn't working. It's not meeting with community needs and garnering the input necessary that really has to reflect on the pace and scale of development that we're seeing in our communities. But at the same point in time, I'm committed to doing that work with the next city council. We also be clear that Calgary is 55 miles across. We are sprawling out as far as the eye can see. And if we continue to do so, it's unsustainable. It'll be unsustainable from a tax base. It'll be unsustainable from providing services. It'll be unsustainable in providing transit, things that citizens want and need. So we still need to densify. And to be clear, that has to happen in all sections of the city, including the ones that are in Ward 8. I door knocked also a lot downtown where you have young people who are living in apartments and renting, and they too want an affordable place to live. Okay. They're finding rents as well as housing prices out of reach. It's much harder for them than it was for me 30 years ago when I was starting out as a lawyer at Denton's. It was easier to purchase that first home. I think what we need to do, as well as revisit things, is look at the infrastructure. When I talk to the people, there are legitimate concerns around parking, around infrastructure, around bus. Do we have that capacity? We need to build that capacity while we densify, and City Hall has to get on their horse when they do these projects to ensure that we have the infrastructure in place. When it comes to Marda Loop, we can look at this as an exercise in bad city planning. There was no coordination in between departments. There was taking up of one street 3 different times. We have to be that coordinated liaison between construction as well as utilities and the developers to try and make these projects go much smoother. The Minto project, I agree that they should be paying for the infrastructure upgrades to the green space, to the egress, to the different things that are necessary to make that community better. But we also look at this, we had an open space there that needed to be redeveloped. Is it perfect? No, but it's moving forward. And I know it's a staged plan that will be implemented over the next 10 years that work by council to get them to doing their fair share and for us finding solutions to these problems, I think are workable and can move forward in a reasonable fashion. You know, when we look at the development process, we always have to recognize that there's 2 groups of people, existing homeowners and those who want to be homeowners, and striking the balance that allows us for both to keep that community voice in the planning process is so important, as well as affordability for young people and those who want to live in the community with alongside you.
Okay, thanks again for keeping to the time allotment. So this was like next to a really short, because we wanted to focus on that main topic a bit more. So the second question is comment on the current situation with homelessness, addiction, mental health, safety. A few of you already mentioned safety within our ward and the city in general. What can you do and what will you do? So 1 minute each. I know it's a bit of a quick one.
So this just goes to my heart. This is what I do every day for work. 75% of my job sometimes is social work. So I connect with Calgary Police Service, with different emergency services and social providers across the city. I believe in public safety with a purpose. What this means is that you give the police, the fire, and bylaw and transit peace officers the training and the resources they need to do that frontline policing, but we need to take the pressure off of them because they are also doing mostly social work a lot of the time. Because these issues that we're seeing with people on who are experiencing homelessness, that speaks to a failure for us to address that problem ahead of time. What the city can do, increase the size of the PAC team. That's a police officer and a mental health nurse that are teamed up and they monitor these individuals. Increase the size of the transit outreach teams, which is a transit peace officer and somebody from Alpha House that they monitor these high propensity, high complexity individuals. That actually allows the others to do the real police work. So that was very quick.
Okay, that is just way too fast. When I was working with Common Good Linens and hiring many men and women, I would be able to get to have a coffee with them, and not one person that I dealt with from age 20 to age 60 didn't have some severe childhood trauma that they had to face. And so how do we deal with that kind of crisis that's on our front? Number one, housing first. If we don't have a lock on our door at night, we can't recover. Our brain won't even let you recover. You're still just thinking of how do I get a meal and where am I going to land next? Partnering with our health providers, obviously, to get more outreach, more detox, more same-day treatment access. Supporting both harm reduction and recovery. We can't afford ideological bents on this. We have to have an all-hands-on-deck solution that looks at all the different pathways to help people get off the street and get into recovery, back into community. Expanding, of course, our safety teams around LRT and our police packs as well.
Mental health and addictions has been a priority for me on this campaign since day one. It is complicated, it is sensitive, but it is also urgent. My business in Lower Mount Royal, I'm a business owner in Lower Mount Royal and I'm in the Beltline every day. I will tell you honestly, this crisis is worse than I've ever seen it. Addicts crowded in back alleys, openly using, residents and businesses facing theft, vandalism, and other things. People feel unsafe, and I understand why. But we cannot simply look away. We need a strategy that is practical and compassionate, one that actively partners with Alberta Health Services to prioritize recovery and rehabilitation, one that works hand in hand with the Calgary Police to keep our streets safe, while also connecting people to real help. There are organizations doing important work in this space. We must bring them together, build collaboration, and focus on driving better outcomes, because this is no longer just a downtown issue. This crisis is touching every community in Calgary.
Well, mental health is a very, very complex issue, and I have been working in the arts and culture sector. I think arts and culture can play a very, very important role in bringing people to thrive. And just to engage you need to keep your minds active, and we need to provide opportunities for people to be engaged in arts and culture. I know as well the city of Calgary has different spaces that are empty or not used, and I think we need to provide a space for it can be provided to people to be safe. I have seen people in the streets in the Schmidt Center is something that I have talked with people about, that there is different opinions on what to do with the crisis that we have for say consumption sites. And I think we need to create options, and the city of Calgary has different spaces that can be used. So it's a complex issue. I read the report for the Calgary Homeless Foundation, and also it's not an easy to resolve, and it's very, very heartbreaking to have homeless people in our town. So.
Inner city safety is one of the prime reasons why I'm running this campaign. My wife Deanna and I live downtown, and we have seen a rise in this happening in our community. So I have a 3-point plan, and of course this is not simple. It's complex. We do need more visibility of our police and police officers. They do make the neighborhood feel safe. and yet we got to distinguish with what makes us feel unsafe and what makes us feel uncomfortable. Expanding the police work with the social work teams, the good work that the PAC team does. We need to expand that program to allow the police and peace officers to do their work both in our inner city communities as well on the transit line. You know, we can't arrest our way out of homelessness. Two, we need to ensure that we have 3,000 unhoused individuals in this city. We need to do better. You know, we need to have partnerships with the province, the Fed, to be able to do this work. And third, just we have to put a sharper focus on this at City Hall to work on inner city safety.
I know it's super, super short. So last question, and then we will have a bit of a breakout social session. Like I say, you can stay in here or go outside, whatever you prefer. So number 3, please comment on our current infrastructure and how we can improve it in the next 10 years. Think about public schools. This relates to development, right? Densification, green spaces, and other facilities such as indoor arenas, soccer pitches. That's not the Flames arena, by the way. That's just for public arenas for, other sports, soccer pitches and pools. Thanks.
I feel like an auctioneer, so here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. So 2 great examples in Ward 8, Killarney Rec Center, the only truly public community-based rec center in a ward of 100,000 people. We need another one. You could build that somewhere near the Beltline. We lost the Beltline pool, and then you expand that into having park spaces, community gardens, those types of services. It's unacceptable that we only have one in the whole ward. Westbrook C train station, gone undeveloped for over a decade. That is a space that we own again. We made $7 million off the sale. That's an opportunity to create a truly public space, build some housing, encourage small businesses, and bring in those services that this area with so many people badly needs. And it's about strategies and opportunities to see what we're missing and to get more money back into Ward 8 by being a strong advocate for the community and not having that money go towards building the new infrastructure in new communities that is draining inner city communities like this one to the point where we feel left behind. There's so many other examples, but that buzzer's going to go off in 10 seconds here. So I'm just going to leave it right there and pass it on to my colleague.
It befuddles me that we live in an oil and gas city, that we can build pipelines with 0% tolerance for leakage, and yet we're losing 22% of our water every day right now. That shows you the state of our water infrastructure with old concrete pipes that are dilapidating and a $10 billion deficit on infrastructure. So we've got a lot of catching up to do. We also have a lot of catching up to do on recreation. And I don't know about you as parents, but nothing gets kids off their screen, out of their bedroom like a pool. But right now we're sitting at 24,000 kids on wait lists for swim lessons. This is not only a community issue, it's also a safety issue for our kids. We've got rivers, we've got lakes all around here. We had a drowning a few weeks ago, last week. This is a safety issue. And so we have to get more pools, more recreation facilities built so that our kids grow up healthy, grow up vibrant, and not sitting in front of a screen.
Our city has fallen 10 years behind on infrastructure investment and maintenance. We have a lot of catching up to do. We need to ensure that our communities have support and support the very people we are inviting to live here. I spoke to this at the West Alva Local Area Plan public hearing, where I asked council if they had a plan to support families with children who wish to attend the neighborhood school, only to find out that the school was full and that their child would need to be bused far away to another part of town to a school that had space. This isn't new, and administration should be meeting with the provincial education minister to learn about their strategies for growth and investment. It's not just necessary, it's the right thing to do. I also spoke about the traffic calming curb extensions and the impacts to response time for EMS, fire, and police. By now, you will all know that the curb extension in Marda Loop on 22nd Street between 33rd Avenue and 32nd Avenue was just torn out and reconstructed because it was discovered that emergency service vehicles could not pass through that narrow lane. This is throwing good money after bad. Investing in infrastructure is good when it supports community, like the recent upgrades to the South Calgary pool. What does not serve community is selling park space for development. I'm the only candidate here today that spoke out against the sale of the Richmond Green Park space, and I will not sell a park space for development.
Well, I have had conversations with the Calgary Minor Soccer Association. They have the same facilities basically that they have like 20 years ago. One bubble in the north and one bubble here in the south. They just opened a third bubble, but they said that they need at least 8 bubbles to play soccer all the year long, because soccer is something that is growing every year. And right now with the World Cup that is coming, many kids don't have a space to practice. They are right now sharing fields to practice in half field, and it's it's a lot of challenge. I met the Calgary Firefighters Association as well. Also, they explained to me all the challenges they have, because they have the same basically infrastructure they have with trucks and facilities. They need new fire force as well, because they are dealing right now with a growing population, and they say they have resources they have many years ago. And I know the Minto project communities here, they are not planning for schools, for new schools, and they are planning to build 1,500 units of housing units. And many people that is come here is going to come with kids, so we need to think about that.
I grew up playing hockey, baseball, and swimming in summer pools. It was a joy of a joyful time, and one we have to recreate for kids and families in our communities. Right now, the Calgary Soccer Association is short 8,000 hours of soccer field time. 8,000 hours of kids not getting an opportunity to play. And you can recreate that all throughout the community. We have to create third spaces where we can look at creating places of connection. The world is longing for it. Calgary's longing for it. Look for things like expanding to a sea space, maybe down at the old fire hall. I know there's plans for that. I know Calgary has a play on strategy that looks actually like a really good strategy for revitalizing inner city neighborhoods and sports and recreation buildings. But you better have counselors who are going to show up, support it, vote it, and fund it if you want it done. And I will be there to support that plan to get kids and communities in in places of connection.
Okay, thanks everyone. I appreciate that. I thought that went really well. Let's keep up that energy momentum. So yeah, next half hour, maybe 45 minutes, stick around, socialize, or maybe we'll let the candidates kind of spread out. You can kind of go to whoever you'd like to speak to. Leave the chairs the way they are, because we do have the mayoral candidate kind of forum tomorrow. And thanks so much for coming. If you have any questions about the community association, I have to do a plug. If you want membership, come talk to myself, to Christy, and Buffalo 9 over there, local brewery located in Killarney-Glengarry / Richmond Knob Hill, right by the Minto development. It's over